Hello, hello. Russell Hotel's going live just for a couple of minutes. You know what time it is? It's the daily check-in, right? So I know normally, and I think I kind of let people know that she was not going to be here on Monday. So we had to table some stuff until Wednesday, which is today. So we have Miss Tiffany English here. You know, she's the guest host. It's normally on Monday, but today's Wednesday because she had been traveling and she's like chomping at the bit to tell me about her experience at was it Incentive Live? Is that what it's called?
Yes, yes.
Incentive Live, which is a North Star event. So thank you guys for all joining. Today is Hump Day, June 3rd, 2026, and we appreciate you guys joining. So before we get into anything, I want to make sure we are live on Instagram. I see, yeah, it's functioning over there on Instagram. We're live on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Okay, so if you're there, you want to make comments, feel free to make comments. Say, hey, what's going on? This sucks. Tiffany don't know what she's talking about. You know,
Stop it.
whatever you want to say. This is your platform to do that. Okay.
I'm glad you find this funny. Jeez.
So
That's
anyway, okay, let's get to it because,
nice.
like I said, she was chopping at the bit. You know, when she came on, I mean, we do a pre thing before we go live, and she was like, you know, she's ready to talk about the hotel, the experience. I mean, look at her, foaming at the mouth. So what's going on?
Hey, well, thank you for having me. Happy Hump Day. Nice, nice, right there in the middle of the week. But yeah, well, normally I feel like we talk beforehand, but now I'm like, no, no, no. Let's get on the show and let's. So you don't even know what my experience was. So I'm excited to share.
Okay, I mean, no, I don't
Um,
know. This I'm getting it firsthand from you, just like everybody else.
so Incentive Live is a show I just came back from, and I didn't realize it's a newer show. So I this is my third year going to Incentive Live, which is a show based on incentive programs. So the hotels are coming and bringing in their best product to show for incentive programs. And I was there last year in Puerto Rico at the El Conquistador. The year before that was at the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas, and this year was in Boca Raton at the Boca Raton. So um, I will say it was I feel like this was the best year for the show, just as far as um, the suppliers that were there, the entire event, which is very well done. Um, but I want to first start with, well, I want to share the Boca Raton because I think we had talked about it last week. I didn't do any research on it. Didn't know what to
Of
expect.
course you did. Yeah, we talked about that at nauseum that you don't do any research on anything.
You know what, Russell? And
You just
funny
show
enough,
up.
no, but funny enough, for a reason, because I don't want the opinions to taint what I think should happen. And so I go to the resort and I have no idea what to expect. That way, you don't have your expectations lowered because, oh, they were supposed to do this and this and that. So you go with just an open mind, which I did. Um, and I knew it was an iconic hotel that's they're celebrating their 100 year. So I mean, look,
Oh
they've been
wow.
around.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Sorry, but I was trying to get okay, but before that, I wanted to talk about so our transportation was I was trying to get his information. So one of the things is I had a private transportation. Sometimes you have private transportation or group transportation. I ended up Russell changing my flight, of course, right? So I booked an earlier flight. They confirmed me, and I said, "Hey, actually, I'm about to change my flight." And I sent the message to the transportation company, and they got me a different driver, a different time. And I want to say that the communication between the transportation company, which I'll look up in a second, was great because we had talked about before how sometimes it's hit or miss if you do Uber. Um,
Hmm.
and I was talking with him. The difference is that communication. So as soon as I landed, when I tell you I landed, I turned my phone on, and the driver was like, "Hello, I'm here. Whenever you're ready." They were there, and just knowing where to expect, hey, I'm going to be here. It was just a really great experience. And I ended up getting to talk to the owner of the transportation company and just thought top notch. Like their drivers just on time. They had water for me waiting because the airport from Fort Lauderdale to Boca Raton is 40 minutes, about 45 minutes. So, and another thing too, I think we talked about that last week, giving expectations about how long the ride is going to be. Take your bathroom break, get ready, you know what I'm saying? So it was a really pleasant experience. And that kind of set the tone. I was comfortable and I arrived to the Boca Raton. And Russell, let me tell you, it definitely gave that wow factor needed. It was a great host hotel for an incentive program. I can definitely see myself doing, and I actually am. I'm submitting a request to see if we can get that on the short list for a program. But great service. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I wanted to take a pause.
Okay, take a pause, but you gotta give me more. You gotta get us more information.
All right. Okay.
Why was it so great? I mean,
and I think because I didn't know much about it, but I think a lot of people know the reputation of the Boca Raton. They know that they're known for service.
Before you move forward, hold on one second. So you're saying that if you had done your research, just knew a little bit about the hotel, that would have tainted the experience? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Sometimes you think one thing, and then when you get there, you're like, I thought it was going to be this. I just wanted to be just completely open-eyed and just take it all in. Absolutely. Okay. Well, we're different. You would probably already have the stats and know what.
Well, I would just know, how big the property is. I don't want to be surprised. I would know that because that's what I do. Okay, I take into account all those different things. Is it a large property? I mean, because I sometimes go into these things thinking, okay, I have a client possibly in mind, but then I get there and then I know my client doesn't like huge properties, right? So, I mean, that's something, not saying I wouldn't include them on the list. It's just that, right. I would know ahead of time that, maybe this hotel is a little larger, Yeah. I didn't realize, I've never been there before, but I've heard of it. But when I looked it up, 907 guest rooms at 81,000 square feet. I didn't know it was that large.
Yeah. It's quite large. And I get what you're saying. I guess just, you go and you think one way and you think, oh, I have based on this, I read the review, I have a client in mind, and you go there, it's a completely different experience. So I definitely wanted just to get that firsthand experience. Large property is an understatement. So I get dropped off in the main building, and the staff says, where's your room? I don't even know. So with these things, I just know I have a reservation. I don't even know where my room's at. I don't know where I'm going. So I go to the front desk and they're like, you're in the tower. And had I looked at the reservation, yes, I would have seen that I'm in the tower.
Oh, had you done a little research, you would have known that, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. But here's the thing, Russell, it goes to the level of service because I go there, it's the front desk, and they look at it and said, you're at the main tower, or you're at the tower. That's a separate reservation desk. I said, okay, can you let me know? He says, no, I'm taking your bags and I will take you to it. And so he takes my bags and we're walking, maybe, a 2-minute walk. And as we're walking and talking, he's telling me, my first thing is, how many pools, how I want to have some pool time before I go. You already know this, Russell. You already know this. He says, of course we have some pools, but what you may like is to go and take our water taxi over to our private beach club and enjoy the beach. And I said, of course I would. And so we're having these conversations and I'm just like, yes, this is great. So just so you know, their beach club is called the Beach Club. It's across the street. You take their water taxi that runs every 10 to 15 minutes. It's complimentary. They have fresh towels and chairs for you. They set it up for you. There's no trying to find a chair and where to stay. What a great, perfect experience. But again, A lot of people know the reputation of the experience of the service. I didn't know, so I was just in awe. And I get to the front desk, and they're saying, would you like some water, still water? Would you like some sparkling water? I think there was some alcoholic drink. It was a little early, so
So
I
you
got
didn't
some.
indulge? You didn't
No,
indulge?
I did not. It was sparkling water.
That's interesting.
But a pleasant check-in experience.
Not the Tiffany I know, but anyway, okay.
You know what? I did not indulge this entire event.
What's wrong with you?
Okay, like, see, we don't have to spend time talking about it. All right, just so you know, I was and I was pleasant. It was great. So to my point, from the moment I entered the service, and when you asked a question, instead of just simply answering or pointing you to the right direction, they will walk you to where you needed to go. There's quite a bit of staff on hand. I don't know what the ratio is, but I've noticed when you do have a higher number of staff to guests, you have that time where they can take the time out their day to escort or to pause in their day to talk to you. As opposed to, you've been to some hotels where they're so busy and frazzled that they're just like, it's over there somewhere, but I don't have time to deal with this. So I do notice that, when they do have that high count of staff available. So went up to the tower. The tower is more recently renovated. So in the last 2 or 3 years, I think they said 2001. And the tower is 26 floors. And then they have a little rooftop restaurant. And I was on the 20th floor. And my room was amazing. It was a king suite, king junior suite. And so, 2 TVs on each side. It had a nice little sitting area and the greatest view of both, their pool area, the river, and then the ocean a ways. Great window access. You had the floor to ceiling windows, and just a really refreshing, accommodations. And I made a point. I did a quick live on my stories about when you walk in your room, especially for an incentive, you should be wowed. It should be like, and when people are doing incentives, they're typically well-traveled. They've typically been to so many hotel rooms, they start to look alike. And so this one, it had great, hardwood floors, and you walked in and you're just like, oh, this is great. The decor was very, it wasn't loud. It wasn't beachy. It was very muted and nice, woods, very inviting. And also they had light snacks and drinks, Russell, that were complimentary. But I had to.
In your room?
Yes, but I had to verify because you know how you check in and they tell you stuff, and sometimes I'm like half listening, and I'm like, I think she told me they were free, but I need to verify so I don't get charged, because they had snacks, they had gummy bears, they had trail mix, they had Chex Mix, and then you open the refrigerator and they had the soft drinks. They had Sprite and Coke and water, and I'm like, look, I've been to Vegas. I know what happens when I take this Sprite out of here. So I got scared, Russell. I went to open it. I was like, wait. So I go downstairs and I'm like, I think you may have mentioned that everything in the room is for. She's like, yes. So, just kind of, and matter of fact, I wish more hotels would do that. Just kind of charge it to the room rate and just include it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. Definitely a really great room experience. And that was my start of the day.
Okay. So now we know that the arrival experience was fantastic. From the transportation to the hotel staff as well. So
5 out of 5. 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Wow. Now I've never heard that from Tiffany before, because Tiffany can be a bit of a hotel snob sometimes.
Man, let me tell you, I called my mom and had, and
I cried on the phone because it was so.
Well, I had to do a video call because, you talk about me with my standards at a hotel. I view hotels like, will my mom stay here?
Mm.
So I called my mom and it was like, this might be one of my best stays this year. It was really great.
Well, and you just got there. You're already saying that?
I know. And
Wow.
you know how I feel about, service. Everyone's happy. Like they act like they like their job. You can tell because everybody's happy and
Okay. Well,
warm and inviting. So yeah, like I said, that was
says a
the
lot.
arrival experience.
That says a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're on with Tiffany today. I know today is Wednesday, but Tiffany had been traveling and she talking about her experience at the Boca Raton, which is in Boca Raton, Florida. 907 guest rooms, 81,000 square feet of meeting space. We're going to get into, okay, why were you there and what is an incentive and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So you're going to have to, put your thinking cap on here for a second because we need to know because there's people out there that may not know what the heck you're talking about. Okay. So, and then shout out to Kelly Kowa. She's out there. Kowa. I'm sorry, Kelly. It's been a while since I've talked to you. She's out there in, I want to say London, Germany. No, she's in Germany. So shout out to Kelly. Appreciate you coming on. She's over there on Instagram. So yeah, so we appreciate you coming on. So okay, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about, okay, you're there for Incentive Live. Can you tell us a little bit about what Incentive Live is and kind of the process of why you're there and what did you participate in while you were there?
Yeah, so Incentive Live, I mentioned just really briefly, it's looking at properties, hotels, vendors that are good for incentive programs. So when you think about those trips that you win, being the top seller at your company, and what they are is these like high value, more of a luxury when we talk about hotels. And because I deal a lot with looking for the right venue, right hotel, that's usually its start, is that incentive program. Where is it going to be held? Incentive Live brings really great hotel properties that know that business, that know that level of service that they need to be. They're usually rated. Now, the Boca Raton is rated, it's a 5-star of Forbes. So Forbes has their own listing, and they are rated 5-star of Forbes. But, you look at, 3-diamond, 4-diamond hotel properties. Those are good matches for incentives. So we had a lot of hotel properties as well as gifting. That's always fun. Gifting partners.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I mentioned this earlier that yes, an incentive program, an incentive trip does require gifting. You can't get away with gifting. So if you are having, your clients come in, your customers, you're doing appreciation and you're flying them in, there should be a gifting component. So we did have we were able to enjoy some of our gifting partners. Maui Jim was there, so we had some sunglasses. Seiko was there. And then this is interesting. We had, what are they called? Blue Delta jeans, and they do custom fitted jeans. So the idea,
I think I've seen them at, is it IMAX?
Have you? Okay. That was my first time.
Keep going. They're located in like the South somewhere. Where are they located?
Where? No.
Where are they located?
Blue Delta jeans. I feel like they're I don't know. Anyway, they they custom make your jeans. So basically they measured every single person that wanted jeans, gave their own measurements, and then you get to pick the stitching, you get to pick the material, the color, and they get delivered to your home. So that's a different, unique experience that was different to me. But my point is, with incentives, having that unique, gifting experience that people can take either on site with them or take home with them, it connects them to that event. So Maui gyms are great because, people can pick out their own glasses. Seiko, Russell, we all got Seiko watches.
No way.
I know.
Because that Seiko guy is always at these conferences, but never gives out anything. Are you serious?
Yeah, it's still in my suitcase somewhere. But yeah, they had men's and women's Seiko watches. And he was explaining the program is pretty a decent program. Like they're really reasonable to bring in on site. Yeah.
Okay, Seiko. Okay, just a quick note here. And I was right. The jeans, Blue Delta, right?
Blue Delta Jeans Company.
They're based out of Mississippi. I said in the South.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember them from, I want to say it was IMAX, or there was some show. I mean, we go to so many shows, but I do remember them because it made it was in my head like, oh my God, they're taking your measurements and they'll send them to you and all this kind of stuff.
Really
I didn't do it because it was I don't remember why I didn't do it.
Probably was the line long?
It could have been that. Yeah. And they only took so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't give everybody jeans, but they gave a certain amount of people. So
and that's another thing to think about. You know, as we're planning these things, we think about the logistics and certain things. Will this work for 100, 200 person program? Maybe not, because people are going to be, in lines forever. But if it's a smaller curated event and you want this unique experience and it's, 10, 20 people, maybe that works. So kind of thinking about what gifting makes sense for your program. But yeah, so great for incentives. So we have that. But like I said, it starts with the venue and the hotel and the service. Like how are people feeling when they get in the hotel? These are these high quality trips that, maybe your sales team worked all year to get into. The incentive level that I plan for is usually more of a retreat style where the client wants to be wowed. So I'm always looking for those really great properties that just people don't normally go to, and then they can talk about it when they leave. So how do you have that experience? And usually it comes down to how's the service, and how's the food, and how's the uniqueness. So I mean, we had some great properties. We had, and we talked about this last week. I made my appointments with a few people that I knew because I wanted to catch up. No, don't laugh at me. I got some real intel. I got some tea.
Okay, well, you'll share the tea.
Okay, well, no, some certain tea I can't share. Well, no, I so updates and then some new properties, but I talked with and Colleen's a great contact that I connect with at Hard Rock. Got the update with the Vegas build. And that's going to be, a huge property. And they have rooms. They have a full guitar, and they're going to have rooms there, and it's going to be so expansive. But, she was telling me, hey, if you're looking for just a venue in Vegas, why don't you check out our Hard Rock Cafe sometime? And, we have a rooftop access. I had no idea. I've never been to the Hard Rock Cafe in Vegas. I don't know if you have.
Neither.
But she's sharing it with me, and I'm like, huh. So things like that where I'm catching up with people I know for updates. I caught up with Aruba and the Hilton. They did open their Westerly division this week.
Okay, very good.
And so it was.
What's the GM over there's name again? What was his name?
What's that?
The GM at the.
I don't know the GM.
Remember, we talked about him. And that the same gentleman that you met, that you were there on a cruise and you went there to do a site, and he gave you a site?
Not that.
Director
That was in Grand Cayman. We're talking about Aruba.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, we're mixing our islands up.
Oh, I'm getting mixed up. Okay, because you're rarely excited about anything. So
I mean, I do like Aruba. So Aruba was great. Catch up on that property. Who else was there?
Okay.
Caught up with Atlantis. So Atlantis, interesting enough, we talk about that sometimes. Doug was not there.
Okay.
But Kingsley was there.
And
we're chatting, and I was at Atlantis for Destination Caribbean and did not see like 90% of it. And he's just like, we have 20 restaurants. No, I did not know that, because all I see is that Shake Shack. He was like, you could do a dine around in Atlantis. So it's just, my point is, you talking and you get firsthand, just conversation like, oh, see, there's certain things you can Google, and there's certain things that you get like just firsthand information from your salespeople. So that's why I appreciate coming to these shows, continuing to, build those relationships with people I know. A lot of other properties were there from the Dominican Republic, which I've yet to be there yet. So it was good to kind of get some of their insight. Visit Anchorage was there. I mean, there was a really great selection. Panama, Visit Panama was there. So these shows are, just in general, are good for information, but because this was very targeted to, incentive and luxury and, great properties, it really made sense. So like I said, same format as the others. We had 12-minute appointments. We went between 2 different rooms. So that got confusing. It was, if you had table 1 through 50, it was in the room to the right. If you had table 50 through 100, you went room to the left. And then, of course, as planners, we're toggling back and forth. So, yeah, that was a little logistically, it was a little something.
How many appointments did you have? How many appointments?
What did I have? About 20?
20 a day or
22? 22 total. We were done by noon. So it wasn't like some of these.
Oh, they're all on one day?
No, we day 1 and day 2. It was done by noon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I feel like this year, it's very targeted. Here's what I will say. And of course, I feel like as a supplier, it's okay for you to lead the conversation, because if you start asking me questions, I think I spent a few minutes on, you're from Chicago, and we spent a few minutes about talking about Chicago. So it's okay to kind of steer the conversation to where you need to. But I will say not a lot of, it was a lot of tabletop talk. And when I say that is, if I'm at your property, I want to see your property. I want to see the rooms. I want to see the PowerPoint. I want to see some visuals. So there wasn't a lot of stuff on tables. And I'm seeing that as a trend, that people kind of just show up and maybe they have a brochure of the map and say, this is where we are. And then they just talk. But I'm a visual person. And even if I wasn't a visual person, we're booking rooms. We need to see rooms.
So you're saying that the majority of the people didn't have like PowerPoints like normal?
I would say less than half.
Less than half had
the actual laptop out with the PowerPoint.
Really?
Yeah. And that's when the conversation steered not as organized. We were kind of, it's like, oh, tell me what you're looking for. And I'm just like, I that's not what we're here for. So I feel like let's have a little bit more structure. Even though I love a good conversation, and I'm going to talk to anybody, but if you're representing, and mind you, the show's not cheap for you, right? You're paying to be here. Yeah. You're trying to put your best foot forward. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a lot of swag, and there wasn't a lot of visuals. So it was basically
no swag. You don't need no swag. You're gonna leave that stuff in the room anyway. Unless I
like functional swag, but. No, it wasn't a lot. It wasn't much.
Can you move your chair up, because I'm up here and you're down there?
I can't move my chair.
Like, how do you move the camera? Move the camera.
I'll move.
There you go. Right there.
There we go.
Okay.
So again, like I was saying, I just think having a nice flow, and capture the best you can in those 12 minutes.
So you're saying that the flow lacked.
I'm not saying for everybody, but especially properties that I didn't know about.
Okay, you had 20 appointments. Let's just say you had 20 appointments.
Right.
So you're saying 10 sucked and other 10 were okay?
You're doing like the most. I didn't say they
sucked. That's a question.
I didn't say they sucked. I just said they could have been better. It's not like they were awful.
Okay.
I had great conversations. I will say all of my appointments accomplished something. Because, at some events, you're just like, I don't even know why we're talking. So there was not an appointment like that. So there are appointments where I wish I would have had more visually, especially some of these international properties. Dominican Republic, they're like, hey, we're all inclusive and we just redid our room. Okay, cool. Well, let me see it. Oh, I'll send it to you. I've already forgotten who you are. Like by the time I get that email.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
You know, so yeah. And then there's people that just, you know, you go to their table and there's just table. You have all this, your table is your real estate, right?
Yeah.
You know,
your real estate, or that laptop has a lot of important information on there, or your iPad or whatever. I mean, we've gotten so used to that. This is a digital world, so we have to be able to see what you're talking about because we're not there, right?
We're
not physically there.
What I will say, I think the most prepared people were like the DMCs. They had, so they almost had too much. There were some DMCs that had their like 20 slide. So it was either like too less or too much. They had their 20 slide presentation where I'm like, look, we don't have time for all that. I know what a DMC does. Tell me what I need to know specifically. But yeah, so they had the laptop. They had all the photos. They're like, hey, we can do this activity, this. Okay, you know, so let's summarize. But as far as some of these, you know, hotel properties that were maybe lesser known, I would have wanted to see more.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So more, you know, a little bit more, especially ones would they have known? I mean, they should. Well, bottom line, it seems like they were overall, they was lagging in technology.
Or some visual component. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, would a photo book with photos would give you justice, or
sure? Okay, yeah. To your point, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, whatever it is, let's talk about it. Let's get it out there because you want people to see this and understand that. Hey, I mean, not that you're speaking for every planner out there, but most planners are visual. They want to see. And we've gotten used, and that's not being spoiled. I mean, this is the world we live in, and we have everything at our fingertips. And for you not to be able to show something digital on your laptop or on your iPad, that's insane at this point. Okay, that's crazy. Okay, so okay, but I mean, okay, I mean, a little hiccup here and there. Okay, I mean, maybe sometime that happens, but you still had good rapport, good conversation with the sales representatives, correct?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Okay. So, like, which one stood out? Which one would you say stood out? Which destination or hotel stood out that when you left there, you're like, oh my God, I definitely have to.
So yeah, it's funny you say that. There was this. I'm trying to remember. So it was it in Dominican, maybe it was the Lopasan. So in the Dominican Republic, because there were maybe it was the Lopasan, and also the Palmaya, the house. Yes. So a couple of these smaller all-inclusive hotels, you know, one was so Lopasan. You know, all-inclusives, right? You're like, oh, I know, a typical all-inclusive. But she was basically saying, oh, we have this adults-only version. And I think you need to very specify what makes your all-inclusive different than all the typical between Dominican Republic, between Mexico, anywhere in the Caribbean. So those had really great visuals about, these are our newest property. I think they just opened like this month or May. And everything's just brand new build. And they had like just a mini, maybe, I don't know, 20-second kind of reel. And so to your point with the technology, now you can kind of see, oh, I see that you have all balconies. Oh, I see how it's laid out. So that really stood out, is kind of getting a visual on, is this a good, you know, incentive program? And that they have an adults, you know, only section, because that's another thing too. A lot of these properties, all inclusives, are, you know, family focused. But if you're doing incentives where it's just, they're not bringing their families, is it going to, you know, disrupt the program? So those were really good. And again, because we got to connect those visually. And so just having, I don't know, a 10-second loop or overall what it looks like, including the rooms. A lot of times when I'm asking about the rooms, I'm like, are there balconies? Or do they all have balconies? How are they facing? Are some of them facing ocean? Because, as soon as you source, everybody wants the same room. Don't be having people having that parking lot view or whatever.
Yes, yes.
So those are questions that you can easily be answered through a really quick visual.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. So I mean, like hopefully, like I said, hopefully, people watch this and they take that into account next time when they're when they're attending these things. Like you said, they spend so much money. You would think it'd be overkill. They'd bring so much stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because they're spending so much money to attend these things,
Right.
especially, and this is an international event, so they're coming from all over the world, literally all over the world, and
right.
Why not bring and put your best foot forward, if you will? So,
yes.
Interesting. So, okay. So, what about activities after that? So, did you get to choose an activity? And I wait. In fact, I think I remember what your activity was. But before I get into that, shout out to Craig Sullivan. Thank you so much, Craig, for coming on and making your comments. See, this is what happens when you come on to make your comments. I put your comments on the screen and I talk about you. I mention you at least, right? So, Craig Sullivan, good morning to you. Aloha, sir. And let's see what else he said. He said, great point. What distinguishes your hotel from the rest? Yeah.
Absolutely.
You want to make sure every hotel is different, right? What's different or what's unique about your destination, about your hotel, or whatever that may be. And then he also says, you're right, Tiffany.
Oh, I love to hear that. Thank you, Craig.
Yeah, because you don't hear that enough on this show. I mean, from me.
Yeah, not from you. Jeez.
Definitely. So, okay. So, what was the question I asked you? Oh no, yeah. What was your activity? I think it had to do with.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? I understand.
I'm sorry. How was your activity? I know you
was great.
did a boat ride or catamaran, and you were swimming with the fishes.
I did the catamaran. So it's so funny. Remember last week you were like, don't go in the water. I'm like, it's not that kind of boat. And then of course when I get in, they're like, oh, feel free for people we're gonna go swimming later. So the activities were pretty light and easy. So there was a choice between the catamaran, going to the beach club, and pool time and free time. So I think catamaran was the only kind of active activity, if you call that active, right? So the catamaran fit 50. So it was 49 out of 50 seats. And I was there, and it turned out great, but it did rain a little bit. So they had it covered, and then they had the outside part. Mm-hmm. And then for about 10 minutes, it poured down. So people were just kind of piled in under the canopy. But we did the cruise along. Is it the river in Fort Lauderdale? It's just this long river. And you're seeing all like the millionaire homes and things like that.
I'm sure that's part of the ocean. It's just
but it's not. We're not in the ocean, but I call it a river. But I don't think it's.
What do they call that?
Harbor.
It's an. I don't know. You know what? I'm not.
So I'm gonna say the Florida River.
I don't think it would be called.
It's not the Florida River.
Anyway, keep going.
But they do that a lot. So in Fort Lauderdale, I did the water taxing. You do the tour with you call it Millionaires Row, because all the CEOs have their houses there. So it was kind of cool. What I will say about that particular
Intercoastal Waterway.
Oh, okay. That sounds.
Craig.
That sounds more professional.
This is Craig, Newport Beach. He knows, and I knew he would.
Okay, we went down the waterway. Gotcha.
Thank you, Craig.
Yes, and it was great. And it was hot. It was 90 degrees, but it was hot. What I will say about the cruise itself, and these activities, it was a mix of planners and suppliers. And they had snacks for us. They had drinks, no alcohol, because North Star did not give them access to give us alcohol, just so you know.
You mean
But what it,
on the catamaran on the boat?
yeah,
Okay, you don't need it. You don't
that's
need
what I'm
it.
saying. Well, some people were like, "What?" But I was fine.
Shout
What I
out to
will,
North Star for being responsible. There you go.
what I will say is it gave us a great exactly. See, Craig would have wanted wanted a little adult beverage there. No, no,
No,
Craig, there were
Craig,
not.
no.
No, but
Wait
no,
till you
Russell.
see.
My whole point is that catamaran is another touch point opportunity to network. And I spent about 20 minutes having a conversation with with Hal from Aruba, and we're just talking, but what I will say, it's a mix between planners and suppliers, and that's your time to really hone in on not only getting updates, but just kind of getting to know each other, knowing their programs. Um, Hal was like, "Oh, I was just in Chicago last week. Why didn't you come to the event?" And I'm like, "Why wasn't I invited?" And he's like, "Oh, I'll make sure you're invited." So those are the ways you kind of start getting to know each other, having those relationships, getting on people's lists. I've been talking about Aruba for a minute, so it's keeps being top of mind. But then also talking with someone, from Panama, and he's like, "Hey, I think I got some ideas for a program. I have a loose agenda that I want to put together." So a lot of those conversations are just so organic. And then you're on a boat. You're not in a 12-minute appointment.
You have a
You're not
captive
in a
audience, or you're a captive audience.
right. And the barriers are down, right? Because you're relaxed, you got your sunglasses on, you got a non-alcoholic beverage in your hand. you're focused, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
So I do think that, as opposed to free time or hanging by the pool, something like that is just a little bit more impactful if you are trying to build and grow that network and being intentional about it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean you're absolutely right. You have to take advantage of these opportunities. You got to fish where the fish are. I mean, if you know where those people are going to be, and that's the best use of your time,
Yeah.
then that's what you need to do, right? I mean, and that goes for both. That's both sides, meeting planners as well as suppliers.
Well, you
Yeah,
make a good point, because there were some people, and I get it. We go through these events, but we still have work to do. And there was quite a few people that were like, "Oh, I just choose free time because I'm going to go back to my room and get some emails done." But to your point, that's a time where you can actually get work done because you're networking. You're meeting people that you can get work done on the plane. You can get work done when you're at home. But those couple of hours in the afternoon may be just what you need, as far as, building and growing your network. So using them not as just a fun activity, but using it as your business development, right?
you hit it right there.
Yeah.
Using it as a business development, because that's what you're there to do. I mean, and I understand why people would opt out of it, because a lot
Mhm.
of the suppliers, and I'm speaking of the hotel salespeople and the DMO salespeople, they're going from show to show to show,
Yeah.
and of course emails and thing, and they have responsibilities outside of that show. They have to report back to their prospective DMOs or prospective hotels, and I understand that sometimes we're under the gun, and it's all about how many opportunities you're creating for yourself as far as business is concerned. So I understand, because I've been watching people like the last month going from Florida to Alaska to Southern California to the Midwest. I mean, just constantly on the go. And I get it. I get that, you want to decompress, or I'm
Yeah.
gonna do some, and I guarantee most of them probably don't even do work. They probably just want some rest. And I get that too. So
Yeah.
well, yeah. So no, but no, taking advantage of opportunities, like Craig said, that's definitely what you need to do. But and I understand the other stuff, because we're all human, right? And we
Right.
all get that. We all get pushed to that limit, and we're like, shit. You know what? Enough's enough. I need to do some me care. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I get it. Would much rather be networking. Emails can wait. Yeah, they can wait. In fact, we have it on our phone and stuff like that. But like I said, I understand the type of work and the type of pressure that some of the our sales people can be under because I've been there too. But
Well, you make a good point about that me time because we had talked about, one of the conversations where you don't have to jam pack everything in, and it's okay to actually have some, some open time in the agenda. So funny enough that Catamaran was blocked for 3 hours, right?
dang,
So yeah, so 2:30 to 5:30, and then planners had to be ready, dressed and ready by 6:15. So we were kind of stressing about, wow, we were not much time. So about 2 hours within in the I guess the boat ride, it's about 4:30. Um, our captain was saying, hey, we're gonna drop a couple people in the dock because they want to leave, but we're not done because it's set for 3 hours, and we're gonna finish with swimming so everybody can go out and swim. Well, we end up docking, and 2/3 of that boat got off. And because we thought 2 hours was sufficient amount of time,
Mhm.
and B, that gave us a good hour and a half to have some time to ourselves before we go to dinner. It's
Mm.
okay to have that nice block, just to your point, have some me time, decompress. Um, because other than that, we would have been back to back to back, and that's not efficient sometimes too. Because
Yeah,
then you hit a wall because your social
exactly,
media is down because you haven't had time to recuperate. So
exactly,
people,
exactly.
event organizers need to understand that agenda. And I've been saying this a lot. Certain things that look good on paper don't look as good executed. So you have to kind of go through. It's like that mock trial. Go through. Does this make sense? And we have an activity that ends at 5, and we got to go to dinner at 5:30. Does this make
Yes,
sense?
does this make sense? Exactly. And does it make sense to always put an activity? I mean,
Exactly.
like I said, I mean, and they know that. I'm saying they know, but do they know? Do enough people say this that a lot of these people go back to back to back trips? Okay, so a
Yeah.
lot of times they come from the west to the east to the Midwest to out of
Right.
the country or whatever. So, um, I mean, I mean, it's a a slippery slope.
Yeah.
It's just I understand part of it, but you have to understand the people that are coming that are paying to come as well, right? And they're paying all of it. They're paying for us to come.
Right.
So, and we want their best. We want their best. We want them at their best, right? And sometimes, and like I said, and as I think back now on certain shows that I go to, and people are like, you can tell when people are at their end, at the
Yes.
at the end of that rope, right? And but we don't think about it. We just think about, okay, it's all about us, and we want their best, and we want them to give us this and that, and blah blah blah. Talking about this type of well, shit. They could be spent. They could be done. They could be on. Like I said, they've been gone from home for 14 days, and they
Right.
still have another trip after this one. So I mean, we have to understand that people, we are human, and yeah,
Right.
we do want their best, but sometimes
You can't
we
pack
think
it
that,
all in.
yeah, yeah.
I will say this is pretty good with minimal site visits because I've had some shows where they're like, we have 4 sites to go to before dinner.
Yes.
And it's not just 4 sites, Russell. It's 4 sites of 4 types of rooms, 3 meeting spaces. Like by the time you get to the third hotel, you're like, not another standard room. I don't care.
Yes, yes,
Email me.
yes,
So to your
yes.
point, now that hotel is not getting our best. And now that emotion is connected to that hotel. And you're gonna be like, what did I say? I don't even know. I don't know.
Exactly, exactly,
So
exactly.
and it falls on the event organizer to take that into account that you cannot jam pack everything in. And
Mhm,
sometimes that means telling your sponsors no. Like, hey, you can't be part of this show, this one, because we're at our max.
mhm.
We can't fit 4 or 5 hotels in a day for you. Sorry.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have a limit.
yeah,
And standing on that.
yeah. Yeah, I think there's some things. Do we write? Do we at the end of the show? I know we get evaluations, right? Because
Yeah.
I know North Star is big on that. So
Right.
do you take time and talk about that stuff?
I don't know if it comes up. like that particular.
Thank you, Craig. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you. Great show, Tiffany and Russell. I got a roll filming. Click session 12 today. All right. Aloha. Congratulations. So
Hi, Greg. Thank
thank you
you.
so much, Craig. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I know we talk about what we liked and what we didn't like, but I don't know if we go into that. And that could be a great question, like a probing question to put in the survey. Because a lot of times, I mean, that's a whole other thing. A lot of times these surveys are so open-ended. Do you have any feedback for us? Well, no, because I mean, overall it was great. But then if you ask me a probing question like, hey, was that a sufficient amount of sites or was it too? And now I'm like, oh, well, let me tell you, because now it's fresh in my mind. So I think that's a way to get better data, better information if you're more specific in your surveys.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. That's that event strategy in me.
I see.
Strategy. Right?
Wow. I always
wondered what that meant. Now all of a sudden it's coming out today.
That follow up. See, I don't just plan events. All right.
Ooh, wow.
Talk about that strategy to get these successful events, right?
Tiffany, this is great.
But no, you did. You asked a good question about, are we talking about this more? We talk about it among ourselves, but that doesn't help if it's not getting out to the right people, right?
True.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Okay, Russell, lastly, I know I talked about the Boca Raton service, great, room, great, but I got to talk about this. Probably the best banquet food, hotel food I've ever had.
Really?
I spend a day thinking about it. The food was so we've had conversations. We're sitting at dinner having conversations about how good the food is. That's the topic of our conversation. I tell you, the food is not only like good, like just seasoned properly, but to your point, it was creative. And I can't even like do justice to what it looked like. I'm waiting on the photos from Matt. Matt was our photographer. And I'm like, I need his photos. So when I tell you about some samples of the creativity, the lunch at dinner was fresh salads that was freshly cut. So it was a whole pat of lettuce, and she would start trimming. And it's like, what type of lettuce do you want with your salad? What?
Wow.
No, pick up a thong and throw it in. So it was incredible, the amount of creativity. Beautiful. We had one of our snack breaks was peanut butter. We had cashew peanut butter. We had sunflower peanut butter. All homemade. Oh my gosh, it was, and it was just. And it's funny. I didn't have an appointment with the Boca Raton, but I'm like, who do we need to talk to? Who's the catering manager who came up with it? Like, how does this start? Because it was just so beautiful and thoughtful. This was probably one of the first times where I went home and I didn't feel sick. Because, you go on these trips and sometimes I eat differently. And then, you go on these trips and you kind of indulge and it's like, there's too much, maybe I consume too much sugar and like, I'll have a headache. Everything was very healthy and just fresh. It was, oh my gosh, it was delicious. I'm big on crab cakes. They're probably in my top 5 for crab cakes. So delicious and full of just crab. They had a sushi bar. They had so much variety. You would be completely taken care of. And here's what I thought about with you. So I don't know if you know this, but I recently stopped eliminating pork out of my diet. So
I didn't know that.
I'm a big man. I would eat sausage and bacon, all this. So I think it's maybe 2 months. And so they had these cook to order omelets. And, the day before they have a chicken sausage. And I go there and I'm like, oh, there's only pork. And then they had these the Impossible sausage. And I'm like, it was still, so I think they took the Impossible sausage and still seasoned it up and doctored it up, and it just tasted just as well. So my point is, they didn't just say, oh, you don't eat meat. Oh, here's some, vegetables. They actually had, meat alternative products. which I don't see that a lot with our banquet menus.
Wow. So you're saying I would have been well taken care of?
You would, yeah. You wouldn't even have to have your special plate. You know how you do when people come in and give you your special plate. You wouldn't even have to have that. Where people looking around like, how do you get that? No, you wouldn't no. It was all, oh gosh. And everything had fruit options and veggie options. And, the Boca Raton just in general is really big on sustainability. They had their water in glass bottles. They had a recycle where you give back your bottles. They had a little recycling area. They had refillable bottles that they gave in your room. So if that's, one of your clients' needs where they're looking for a property that, really doesn't just say they're part of sustainability, but does it. Oh gosh. And their desserts, Russell, they had this molten like chocolate chip cookie, and then they had like scoops of ice cream, and then they had all these little toppings. I mean, just really, really great service. I think they are probably number 2. Number 1, as far as the creativity and the beautiful display, would be Hawaii, but they are right up there. Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That sounds very impressive.
Yeah. Really good food.
Wow. Okay. Now go back to this peanut butter thing. Okay. So you're saying they had different types this is a break, I take it. This is a break.
Yeah.
Okay. And they had different kind of peanut butter?
Yeah.
I love
peanut butter. It was like kind of do you eat peanut butter?
I love peanut butter.
So, and it was interesting to kind of it'd be interesting to do like a peanut butter tasting because they had different types. And you would just kind of scoop and be like, I want to try this one. So they had maybe, 3 or 4 different types. And then they had like the celery sticks, they had bread. So it was, generally like a peanut butter and jelly break because they had fresh strawberry preserves and raspberries and blueberries.
How creative is that? That's what I'm.
And then they had little cuts of toast, but so it was kind of more of that upscale peanut butter and jelly, but it worked. Wow. It was so delicious. They also had these fruit parfaits where they had a honey drizzle and then like vanilla yogurt. And then you can put little toppings. So kind of make your own parfait, but done in such an elegant way, in more of a martini glass. So, I was, this is cute, Yeah. But my point is, I mean, it wasn't just here's a dish for you. It was you could tell it was done with a lot of design into it. So I'd be interested to know who is your chef? Who heads this up? How did this come about? Because it was very intentional. Yeah.
Intentional. I love
very intentional. Yeah, you will like that.
Wow. Well, see, damn it, I missed out on it.
Got to go back to the Boca Raton.
No, I couldn't have gone.
Okay, and so I know I'm raving about this place, right? I feel like it's.
Yes, you are. Close it down. I mean,
it's in my top, but I do want to say it did have quite a. It is very family friendly, so that's kind of one of my caveats. Like, it did have a lot of kids and families. I mean, we are talking about summer, but that is something to consider for this particular property if you are. Used to clients that are just having more of a quiet space, that this isn't it. They have their pool area, they have a wave runner, they have a lazy river. And then they have a game room for kids. So it does attract a lot of families. So that was my only kind of like, well, and it won't work for every incentive program, but they do have the beach club that is more of a higher end. That's, a little bit geared more towards adults. But I do want to say I did see quite a bit of kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. That is good to know. All right, but overall, it seemed like you had it was a great experience, a great time.
Oh, can I say this? Because this is on my list too. Russell, my late checkout request. My late check, because that will make or break something too. Because I think I had a really great experience at a hotel, and they lost me because they would not honor my late checkout. So I asked for late checkout, and I said, "Is there any way I can get late checkout?" She says, well, what time do you want to check out? Oh my gosh. Well, what time can I check out? You know what I mean? So, and you know, with that hotel being late on service, they did give me my late checkout request. And
what was your late checkout? What time?
They said they can give me to 1. I said, can we make it 1:30? They said, sure.
Oh God.
Let me stop. Hopefully, like no one else heard this because I think everyone else was checked out by 11. You know, I have to be.
Oh, but
different.
you had to have a 1:30 checkout. Now, what was I going to ask? Dang it. Oh, your room. So you didn't have to ask for another room. I mean, the room you got the first time was the room that you stayed in.
I'm not that person.
Okay, I'm just asking a question. And who was there? Was anyone there that you knew? Any planners that you knew?
Not really.
No, you didn't recognize any planners from any other show.
Maybe a couple that went to the show last year, but you know, not my crew, not people that I, you know, no.
Oh, really?
It's all new people.
Really?
For the most part, new planners. And then Russell, well, got to think about there is so much going on right now. There's WEC that's like overlaps. So I think either started today, yesterday. There was another North Star event, the Small Boutiques. I know people went to that in Alaska. That was like the day before. There are people spread out through all these events. So, yeah. So I imagine it's just that time of year. But yeah, no, it was a lot of new people, new faces.
Okay. Very good. All right. Yep. Well, that's good to hear because, you know, I'm sure we all get tired of seeing the same people over and over again.
I always like seeing my people, seeing the same. It's like a reunion.
Yeah, and I think we got to cut down on that. You know,
we
don't want all that. We're not trying to get all that. So okay, very good. Well, we appreciate Tiffany for coming on a Wednesday. You know, Tiffany's always welcome whenever she wants to come in. She's always welcome to come on and talk about and discuss her experiences at her different shows that she attends or different hotels that she experiences. So no, we appreciate you coming on and, you know, giving us a view of what you experienced and what was good, what worked, what didn't work. But it seemed like overall, I mean, everything went very well.
This is a good one. You know, I'd let you know if it wasn't, but this, yeah.
Oh yeah, well, believe me. In fact, she was chopping at the bit to go live. Can you hit the button to go live? Because like, you know, it's like a racehorse getting out of the
shout out to the Boca Raton.
The stalls, like. And
also shout out to Palm Beaches because that's their CVB. And I talked with a gentleman there, and he says, "Well, all of our properties are in this caliber." And he's like, "I'd love to." And he was actually like a representative of the hotel. Like, I think he was like, "Hey, what do you need? I'll go get them." Like, "Oh, I'm here all the time." So, unfortunately, I left before he can connect me to the Boca Raton, but you know, we all have each other's info. But I just think for a resource, he was a really good guy. I think it's Robin, So I need to follow up with him.
I think.
Yeah.
I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, give out a shout out to Robin.
Look, you caught me like literally the day after. I need to go through my list of contacts and all that stuff. But here we go, right on top. Robin. Was it Prakash? Robin Prakash. I'm going to find him on LinkedIn now.
Okay, yeah. Make sure. Okay, what's the next step for you, real quick? What's the next step now that you've been back? You're back now. What are you going to do? Are you going to go through business cards and connect with them on LinkedIn? I hope that's what you're going to do.
Well, I do. I owe people an email. So I'll probably do that first. I've connected with a few on LinkedIn right now, but I need some. Oh, and here's my guy, Jason. I wanted to shout out to Jason. He is the owner of LPC Worldwide. He was my transportation. Very passionate about it. Been in the business over 20 years. And
shout out to Jason.
Shout out to Jason. So that's what I'll be doing.
What's the name of the company?
LPC Worldwide.
LPC Worldwide.
Yes.
Shout out to Jason, LPC Worldwide. 30
years of excellence.
Okay.
And he says they can service nationwide. So I'm like, hey, you got anybody in Chicago? Because my Chicago contacts was not They're not for transportation. No.
Well, normally they have affiliates. So
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
And sometimes the person, the company in Chicago that you're not having a good feeling about, they may be affiliate of them.
Well, no, the company is a very well-known kind of Encore-like company that I won't say their name. So, yeah, I'm not gonna go there.
Okay, I mean,
but yeah, no, this guy, he knows his stuff. So great guy.
Very good. We're so happy that you were taken care of, from when you landed to when you left. Now, transportation on the way back, was that just bus transportation for everybody?
Yeah, it was a shuttle. It was the same company, but it was a shuttle. And a little story about that. Shuttle time was 3:30, right? And okay, I got on. I'm not gonna tell you what time, but I got there on time. And they were still waiting for 2 more people. When I tell you, people on the bus were like, "Leave her, we got to go." And they had no patience. I was like, "Y'all, it's 3:30. Like, I don't have my flight leaves at 5:30. I'll be fine." But they're like, "No, if they're not here at 3:30, leave them." And I guess they got left.
Wow. Okay. I mean, you know what?
We left about 10. We gave them 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, it's like, come on now.
Yeah, I feel if the bus is supposed to leave at a certain time, leave those people.
Yeah, I know you've been right up in there saying
heck
that.
Yeah. Heck yes.
So yeah,
I'm always on time.
I know.
I don't be lagging around like you do. You know what I mean? So
I'm on time, but you're always early, and you get mad at me for being on time. See, that's our problem.
No, you're late.
I'm on time and you're early.
No,
you want to get things. If it's 7:30, you want to get there at 7:15, and you get mad at me because I want to be there at 7:25, 7:28.
That's late. That's late.
See, this is why we disconnect. This is why it's before 7:30.
That's late. I don't.
All right, whatever.
That. Anyway, all right. So we've been on here about an hour. Damn, an hour and 7 minutes. See, you just wound up. You just had to keep talking. But that's good. No, we appreciate that. For once, I didn't have to pull things out of you. You were able to just, just let us know what's going on. So, no, we appreciate it. Shout out to North Star and Incentive Live for putting on a great show and an experience for Tiffany and everyone else that attended. So we appreciate that. So no, that's what we do. So we come on, Tiffany comes on. Oh, okay. So Monday, will you be back on Monday or what's going on? Any other trips coming up?
I've got nothing.
Okay.
I've got nothing. I got just doing some stuff locally in Chicago, but nope.
Okay. So Monday we get back to normal time. 9 a.m. right on Monday. So the daily check-in Mondays with Tiffany. So feel free to come back and check us out on these same platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll be here. But I also do the daily check-in Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Mondays happen to be devoted to Tiffany, but I'm here Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then on Tuesday, I do a show called On Air with Russell of Hotels. Comes on 1 p.m. Okay, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So there you go. I'm in LA. She's in Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're we're international. Well, that's not international, but
Yeah, but we cover a lot.
We cover a lot. We cover a lot, and people that are based in other countries chime in, like Kelly Koa. She's out there in Germany, so we appreciate her on Instagram. We appreciate Craig. He's out here in Southern California as well. So we just appreciate people coming on and supporting us and making comments, because that's what it's all about, right? So that's what keeps us going. So there you go. That is it. Have a great day, great rest of your day. Happy hump day. And we'll see you again.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.